Here's a little story time, and this will all kind of like circle back to the Diddy stuff and all the conspiracy theories that are going on, but I'm going to make it quick. This was back in the early 2000s. I was just a little kid. Like, I was probably not a little kid, but I was probably like 13, 14. Okay, at the time I was in upstate New York. I was at my family member's dress store. They owned like a wedding dress store in a mall. And a woman comes in, and we're not really thinking much of it. I'm kind of like chilling with my cousin and we're hanging out. This woman comes in, she starts talking about a man. I'm gonna name it's a celebrity. He was very beloved at the time. She starts talking about him. We're a little creeped out by her because she's telling us a lot of personal information and we didn't ask for any of it. She starts saying that this man did a lot of bad things to her, that he drugged her, that he did other things to her. I kind of just started ignoring her because I thought she was crazy. If I'm being honest, I was 12, 13 years old. I'm like, why is this adult woman telling me these things? This is so strange, and it's kind of out of nowhere. Well, this is why you have to believe people who sometimes seem a little off or a little crazy. You might not believe them in the moment, but that celebrity man was Bill Cosby. And at the time, we didn't know anything about Bill Cosby. I'm sure there were rumors in Hollywood. I'm sure there were people talking, but us normal people, we knew nothing about Bill Cosby. We just thought he was beloved, Dr. Huxtable, like, we loved him. This woman seemed crazy, and she was telling the truth, because how many years later did we find out that man was doing awful things to women? Now, come to find out, the beloved P. Diddy, who got the key to New York, who ran the marathon, who was on TRL when we were growing up almost every week. All of the rumors that started seeping to the surface, all were true. Anyway, that story came to mind the other day when all of this Diddy stuff was going on, and I was like, I've never shared that on here.
I was invited to a secret A-list celebrities party. There were things that happened at this party that were so dark and so terrible that I've been afraid to talk about it until now. This goes back to almost 7 years ago when I was living in Los Angeles. I was a struggling actress. I was working as a dancer at a club. At this club, we would get a lot of clients that were high profile, especially in the music industry. On one particular evening, we had this very high profile client come in and request a VIP room. I knew that this celebrity had a preference for Latino women, so when he requested a VIP room and actually requested me, I was quite surprised. And I went to do this VIP with a friend of mine that I worked with, did our job, did our thing, and at the end, he gave us a business card with his assistant's name and phone number and told us to call that number if we wanted to party after work that night. I was so not down for this, but the friend that I had done the VIP with told me that she's gone to one of his parties before and that he lives in the Hollywood Hills, has a really cool house. I was really apprehensive on going, but the night was really slow at the club that evening, so we actually ended up leaving early. I was not much of a party person or a drinker, so I was completely out of my element. I was literally there just for the bag. The party at this guy's house was not big or anything. I would say that there were probably less than 30 people in attendance, smoking and doing things that you can imagine are happening at celebrity parties. But one thing I couldn't help but notice is that amongst the people were some very, very young looking girls. At one point I look at my friend and I tell her, hey, like, don't some of these people look like way too young? That is when my friend told me that the assistant at the club wasn't the A-list celebrity's assistant. This guy is a recruiter. Basically what this person does is goes to parties, goes to clubs, and finds girls in a certain age range. And these young girls were being recruited to go to these parties, not to just hang out, but to engage in other unlawful things. This is actually not something completely uncommon in Los Angeles. In fact, this is something that happens a lot. I was completely dumbfounded and disgusted. I ended up leaving that night and never looking back on the whole entire situation until years later, I saw in a tabloid an accusation being made against this very celebrity of doing exactly what I just told you guys.
Years ago, I was Tobey Maguire's personal assistant, and for this one story, I'm going to break my NDA. It was the time of the Aussie Pay, and Toby was a young bachelor. One day, while I was working, I was on the 10 freeway headed east, and I felt a car driving at the same speed I was going right next to me. So I look over, and there's a guy driving who's not much older than I am, and he's just smiling at me like a nice smile. So I smile back, but out of the corner of my eye, I can see that the traffic is stopped going to the 405 South right in front of him. I turn to look in front of him. He turns to look in front of him, but it's too late. His car goes under the truck in front of him. The truck comes up and kills him. I drove straight to Toby's house, and I didn't answer the phone for about an hour. I just laid on his couch, hugging this stuffed animal that had been a gift from an actress to him. When Toby came home, he was like, "Paula, what the hell?" But as soon as he turned the corner and saw me sitting on the couch, he totally changed. He was like, "Oh my God, what happened?" He sat with me for about 45 minutes. He put his arm around me and comforted me. And we talked like we hadn't talked before as equals. And it was amazing. It really got me through a traumatizing experience. I still think about that day way too much. Both the horrifying accident, but also Toby's kindness. People don't know that side of him. I don't think if I worked for someone else, I would have walked away from that day feeling as okay as I did.
Want to hear the craziest story? Do you guys know who Sia is? I'm at Mark Burnett's party in Malibu. Some people are party throwers and just like casually throw the sickest party ever. Like it's just a casual invitation, like to come to the party. And you get to the party and Lady Gaga is there and she's wearing a t-shirt and fishnets and she's like, "Bethany, oh my God, I'm obsessed with you." And I'm like, "You're Lady Gaga." And everybody's somebody. This woman is there and she's like childlike and she's like, "Oh my God, I love you. Oh my God," etc. And we're talking and she's amazing and we're sharing. We're like oversharing. We're connecting. We're best friends. We love each other. We are in love. Then I'm moving on to talk to someone else, etc. And I said, "Did you want to get a picture?" I think it's a fan because I'm a loser. And I don't know who Sia is because I don't know who anything is. I don't know anything that goes on. I literally don't know what goes on. My head is not even up my own ass. It's right here. Like, I don't even know that she's Sia. So she's like, we connect, we exchange information. We're texting, and that's rare for me. I love her. She's the greatest. So we're texting, and the next week I'm coming back to LA. I was going a lot for work, and she's like, "Why don't you come stay with me?" I end up at her house, and we're hanging out, and she's got a great house. I'm not going to say anything about it because I don't know what's private and what's not, but we're talking, and it's like very cool. And we're sitting by her pool, and I'm like, "Do you have any music?" And she's like, I don't know if she said yes or no or whatever, but she brings out like a boom box. And I'm like, "Oh, wow. They're not like," and I don't have a great system. I have like Sonos, but I just like was asking. And she makes a throwaway joke. And she's like, "I wrote diamonds, but I don't even have like a stereo," or whatever you would say, a sound. I go, "What? What are you talking about? You wrote what's diamonds?" She goes, "I wrote diamonds." "Rihanna diamonds?" She goes, "Yeah." I go, "What are you talking?" She goes, "You wrote Rihanna diamonds?" She's like, "Yeah." I go, "Who? What the fuck is going on?" We spend the weekend together. She gets me on dating apps. We go to TJ Maxx and I say to her, "I went on this app you got me on, but like I haven't gotten any bites." And she goes in my settings and she sees that I've set it from 88 to 92. So we're peeing, crying, we're crying in the TJ Maxx, whatever. So we go to dinner and we're sharing everything. We're friends. We're best friends. We've been by the pool. We've been to TJ Maxx. We've been on dating apps. We're best friends. We live for each other. We've connected. I've been with her dogs. All of it's happening. We love each other. So we're at dinner and now we're divulging. I'm sharing stories. She's sharing stories. I'm gossiping. We know similar people, celebrities, everything. It's all going on. It's all happening. She's telling me everything she truly thinks because I'm a vault. Maitre d' comes over. "Hey, hi." I'm like, "Hi, Bethany?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "This is when Instagram story started. Like, or Insta Live. I barely know how to get on this. Your Instagram story is live." What? So like everything we're talking about and sharing about all these people that like is live. Everything. People, I'm then go on and I go on and I see like Brussels sprout, like people are screaming. How nice are my people to take the time to call a restaurant for me and be like, Bethany's story is live. Like, think about that. Like, this is can be transactional. These people went to called the maitre d' at a hotel, got the maitre d', called the hotel, then got to the maitre d' to say my story was live. So she's like, "Oh my God." She's worried. She's doing a show the next week. Like, "Oh my God, we were talking about this person, that person. Like, she's seeing this person next week." It's all like, and she's got an Australian accent, etc. But like, no one knows when I was on that live that I was sitting with her. I could be sitting with anyone. And I look at her and I go, "I don't give a fuck. Meaning the people were I go, these people aren't paying my rent. She was like, I live for you. And that was my Sia story. Just want to know if that was a story 1 to 10. Is that insane?
Has anybody ever said hello to a celebrity and then immediately regretted it because of how they treated you afterwards? Because I have a story like that. But before I tell the story, I need everyone to promise me that you will not send hate to this person, because I made a video that was similar to this, talking about my experience with Flo from Progressive, and it went viral, and a lot of people sent her a lot of hate, and I truly, truly, truly do not want to do that. All right, so here we go. So I used to work at this little cafe as a bartender years ago, but I saw this actor walk in, and he was like this indie actor. He's a little bit bigger now. He walked in and I immediately recognized him from several movies. And I was a little starstruck because I, one, kind of had a low-key crush on him, but then also I just thought to myself, like, I really respected the guy and I liked his work. And so I thought, wow, like, it would be really great if, like, I said hello to him, because he probably doesn't get that often because he was only in like a couple small indie movies, but I had seen those movies. So I'm actually taking care of him and about, I want to say like a dozen other people. I didn't want to like embarrass him or say anything in front of like everyone, so I just like let him enjoy his meal, left him alone. But the meal's wrapping up, and he actually got up from the table and starts to walk outside. And I was like, this is my opportunity. If I'm not going to do it now, I'm probably never going to be able to do it. So I see him walking out by himself, so I stop him. So I'm like, hey. And he's like, hey. He was wearing this backpack, and I just start ranting about, hey, I saw you in Hannah Takes the Stairs. I saw you in Hump Day. I think you're so talented. I like the work that you choose to be in. I think you're so natural. I just love watching you on screen. I just wanted to tell you that. And the whole time he's just looking at me, holding his hands on his backpack, looking very disinterested. After I'd said all these compliments to him, he just looked at me and said, okay. I was kind of shocked, and I just didn't know what to say. So I was like, I guess that's it. That mother rolled his eyes and just walked away. I was mortified, and I immediately regretted saying hello to him. And you know what? The guy doesn't owe me anything. There's a bunch of reasons why he could have done that to me. He could have been having a bad day. I have absolutely no idea. But Mark, if you're out there, I hope you're having a better day. And I'm still a fan, and I wish you all the best. It just broke my heart and made me feel really small.
Okay, I'm stuck at the airport because I lost my passport, so I figured now would be a good time to expose the truth about LA. I went there for work, like influencer type work, and it was borderline horrifying. So yeah, I would love to tell you guys some of the most fucked shit I've ever heard. Some of the most famous people that you know on planet Earth say. One of the most famous people that I met in my entire trip, I heard them say that mental illness is for the weak. My manager, who was very well connected, who brought me out there, as soon as I didn't have sex with him, he let me go and told me to go find my own work. Like, literally just asked him to please not sleep in my bed, and then all of a sudden it was, fuck you, you stupid bitch, you're on your own. One of the most famous song managers in LA, for like literally the top artists, said that I should shut the fuck up in all my TikToks because nobody wants to see a woman talk, and that I would do a lot better if I just got naked on my TikToks and just shut the fuck up. Besides the fact that my most popular videos are of me talking. Another famous guy said that the line between fucking a girl and a girl is just too tough to distinguish these days. And then proceeded to say that if you'd had sex with a girl once, then it's her fault if she says no again, because it's too confusing for the man for her to retract her consent the second time. And if you had sex once, then you automatically deserve to have sex with her again. What the fuck? I got told I was disgusting for drinking tap water. Tap water? I got fun of for putting on Deftones, like at an appropriate time. I wasn't like throwing it on at like a raging party. Also got made fun of for putting on Shape of Your Heart by Sting, which is like the sample from Lucid Dreams by Juice WRLD. They're like, oh, like, do you not know the original like by Juice WRLD? And I was like, this is the original. Like, I like both, but I just like the original sample too. And they're like, oh, this is like so gay. Like, put on Lucid Dreams by Juice WRLD. Okay, no problem. You don't have to be so mean. Everyone just always talks about LA having this like sinister kind of like evil vibe, and like I really didn't believe it until I got there. And then maybe it was the group I was surrounded by, but I'm being honest with you, I was around like the elite top people in LA. So if that's the top, then like that's terrifying. Went there for work, like influencer type work, and it was borderline horrifying.
See, I've been telling y'all. So many of these LA influencers are fucking weirdos. Obviously, not all of them. Hi, I'm Nessa. I've been doing social media for 10 plus years. My main platform is YouTube, but she a TikToker now. In the video I stitched, she mentioned how somebody told her that mental illness was for the weak. Y'all wanna know what the fuck my ex-manager did to me? Him and all of his clients were going around telling people in the industry that I had schizophrenia and I was violent. Girl, violent where? Yeah, I got a big mouth, but like... Nor do I have schizophrenia, and if that is something that you deal with, that's nothing to be ashamed about. For years, I wondered, why did that happen? Like, what did I actually do to that manager for him to hate me? And then I remember that night at Playlist. I remember that invite to the hotel room from my drunk manager and me not wanting to go. Things got kind of weird after that. Could that be it? I don't know if you guys have ever heard stories about people getting their follower count checked at the door. That is a real fucking thing. There have been times I've gone to parties and they have asked me to show my Instagram. And of course, like, there were some people in my group that didn't have a ton of followers because I'm not only friends with influencers. And the guy at the door said, nah, y'all can't come in, but do you still want to come in? No. You would think everybody's like that, right? Like, I'm not going to leave my friends. Oh, I've seen it happen. Oh, I'll see you guys later. Sorry, just get an Uber. It was genuinely super hard to make friends out there because so many people's morals are just non-existent. No, but like, why were so many of the like big beauty gurus that portray themselves as so nice online like the biggest bitches? Like, talk behind your back, might sleep with your man, don't care type. Then you go to their YouTube channel and they're just super sweet and so nice in their vlogs. It was actually very scary. A lot of you guys should pursue acting because the fact that you were just two completely different people, bravo. Because bitch, you could have fooled me if I wouldn't have seen it with my own two eyes. Let me tell you about the time I almost got sued by someone. I went out to LA and I was going to collaborate with a big YouTuber that I was a huge fan of. So while I was there, she actually ghosted me. And in my vlog, I talked about how I was super disappointed that this person just completely like blew me off. And this person that I was a fucking fan of told me that their dad was a lawyer and they threatened to sue me if I didn't take the video down immediately. And they were very aggressive about it. Bitch, the way I cried. I think I was like 18. There was a time when a bunch of my followers and another YouTuber's followers were telling us to collaborate with each other. So this influencer flew out to Arizona, because that's where I lived at the time, to link up with me. And then we were going to actually travel to LA together to film a bunch of content. Please keep in mind there was no flirting, like none of that going on. I completely went into this with like a business mindset, like this is a collaboration. All of our interactions we had online, as well as the ones we had in Arizona while they stayed at my apartment, were just completely friendly. And the next day we went to LA. This man offered to pay for the Airbnb. I was insisting on paying, like, I'm gonna PayPal you, I don't care. And they said, no, like, don't worry about it. I got it. They sent me the link to the place. It was this huge house in Studio City. Bitch, when we got there, he only rented one room with one bed. But in that bedroom, there was also like a really long couch. So I'm thinking, oh, he's probably gonna give me the bed. He's gonna sleep on the couch. Bitch, when it came to going to sleep, the friendliness went out the fucking window. This man told me if I didn't get in the bed and sleep with him, next to him, under the covers with him, I wasn't getting no blankets or sheets or pillows that night. At first, I thought he was joking, like, oh, ha ha ha, like, just give them to me. No, he was dead ass. Like, with a straight face, he told me, get in the bed or you're not getting sheets. This man starts yelling at me, so of course I run outside and I'm crying, bitch, in the backyard. I ended up leaving the next morning, of course, and I never talked to him again. And this guy is still very popular in the basketball community on YouTube. I still cannot believe that shit happened. Like, the way he yelled at me and screamed at me to get in the fucking bed. That experience definitely scared me away from collaborating with male YouTubers. I have a ton more fucking stories. Y'all want more?
Here's another crazy story from my time as a high-profile nanny, because you guys absolutely ate up my last one. So I had just gotten fired from a long-term nanny gig, and not because I'm not good at my job. She dead-ass fired me one night after her toddler reached out to me calling me mommy, which I honestly thought was kind of funny, but then she accused me of like planting that idea in her kid's head. She was so pissed off that she literally just threw me out. So I was absolutely panicking because it is so hard to find an employer that doesn't ask like too many questions about my past or do background checks, which is a story for another time. So referrals as a nanny is like super important to me, and I just knew now that she wasn't going to give me a recommendation. So I was beyond stressed, but after a couple weeks, I finally got a break when I got an interview with a super wealthy client. When I tell you my jaw absolutely dropped when I went to this guy's house, okay? It was like the most insane penthouse apartment I'd ever seen. And I was used to always working for wealthy clients, but this one was like beyond. So this guy tells me he does not have any kids, so he's not looking for a nanny, but just basically a general housekeeper to cook, clean, do laundry, stuff like that. Which after the last family, I was like, thank God. But as he's giving me the grand tour, we're upstairs and he stops outside of the guest bedroom and he's like, just stares at me and he's like, whatever you do, do not go in this room. He probably noticed I was kind of like, what? And then he's just like, my wife's very ill, so just never go in there and never speak to her. So I obviously was like, got it, not a problem, and accepted the job, and I got started right away. But almost immediately after I accepted the job, things started to get a little weird. Like one day he told me to do the laundry and he like pointed out the hamper and everything. And then when I went up there, all of the clothes in the hamper were already folded, like perfectly folded. It was kind of creepy, but that was the only hamper like he pointed out to me. So I was like, okay, they must be dirty. I'll do it anyway. So I take the laundry, and as I'm walking past the hallway, I started to hear weird noises. I noticed the door to the guest room was like slightly ajar. So I kind of just like peeked in there and I saw the wife crying, and then she immediately notices me and her eyes just like right in the doorway, which kind of scared me. And she just slammed the door in my face. And I wasn't supposed to speak to her, but I introduced myself anyway, but she wanted nothing to do with me. But then another day I was folding the laundry and I noticed a very like unmistakable stain on the wife's nightgown. It was 100% blood and it was like a good amount of it, but I was like, okay, maybe there's like a good explanation for this. I don't know. Still gave me like a really bad gut feeling though. I honestly kept thinking about it and I was like, okay, I'm probably being dramatic, but after a few days, things got bad because I'm about to go clean their upstairs bathroom when I walk in there and my jaw absolutely dropped. There was a freaking bloody handprint like on the sink. It looked like someone was like gripping the sink and fell or something. Absolutely horrifying. And then I look down and then I start to see there's like droplets all over the tile, and then I follow it because then I notice it's a trail, and then it goes out into the carpet in the hallway, and then I notice that it goes right up to the door of the guest bedroom. Naturally, I'm freaking out because I was definitely told like very clearly never to go in there, never to talk to his wife, but I walk up to the door and I hear her crying, and that's not the first time I've heard her crying or like weird things that have made me like uneasy coming from her room. So I naturally was like, I'm not gonna ignore this. I started knocking on her door, and that's when the sobs like instantly stopped. So I told her, listen, I don't know what's going on in there, but please open this door. I'm not gonna leave until I know like you're not bleeding to death. Dead silence. At this point, I just try to open the door, but I find out that it's locked, and then I tell her, listen, I just saw blood like all over the floor and leading up to your bedroom, so I'm not gonna leave until I know that you're okay, or else I'm gonna call the police. That finally got a reaction out of her. She ran to the door and she was like, I'm fine, go away, just do not call the police. But that did not satisfy me, so I was like, no, you have to open the door. I need to make sure you're actually okay. Again, she tells me, I'm fine, I just had some bleeding from a cracked tooth. I look back at the trail of blood and I was like, okay, I hope to God that's actually true, but I still need to like, I need you to open the door so that I can just make sure you're okay. I don't know, something in me, I was like, I need to see this for myself. So now she finally unlocks the door, slowly cracks it open, and I literally had to put my hand over my mouth just to stop myself from screaming. I've seen a lot of bad stuff in my life, but what I saw would literally haunt me for years to come. So if you want to know what I saw that changed everything for me, then go read The Housemaid's Secret by Frida McFadden for the rest of the story. It's the sequel to The Housemaid, so go read that first. Another twisty, delicious thriller, and you will eat it up. Enjoy!
Get ready with me while I tell you about the time I got arrested for turning a man down. Let's go ahead and throw it back to 2017. Girl, if I'm gonna be honest, the bitch was lonely, so I downloaded one of those Meet Me apps to make friends. Met this guy that was like 19. I told him from the jump that all I wanted was friendship. So me and this person actually became pretty good friends. We started hanging out with each other like every single day. Like I said, I made it known that I only wanted to be friends. He didn't care. It got to the point where every other time I hung out with him, he was bringing me presents and asking me to be his girlfriend again and again, even though I said no. He started showing up to my house without even asking me. He would leave notes tied to my door, tied to my garage, flower petals all over my driveway. Some of you may think that sounds romantic, but when you are not interested in somebody, it's creepy. After not hanging out with him for a couple of weeks, he actually reached out saying, hey, I want to say sorry in person. I want to take you out to get some food. And I said yes for whatever fucking reason. Big mistake. Not only did he pull the, oh, I don't have my card when it came to paying for our food, so I had to pay for it. But for absolutely no reason at all, he thought it would be funny when we got home, once I was going to take my first bite, to slap my food out of my hands onto the floor. So I proceeded to take his food and give it to my dog and kick his ass out. After that incident, he gave my number out to a bunch of his friends, and they would just prank call me and leave stupid voicemails pretty much every day. Of course, he conveniently left a ton of shit at my house when I kicked him out, so he pulled the, oh, can I come over and get my things type card. You're not coming to my house. So I was with my best friend at the time, and we decided to go and drop off the stuff. He was staying with his friend or something at an apartment. Of course, he was trying to spark up conversation to keep me standing there, but girl, I was trying to get out of there. Like, here are your things, good riddance, no more connections. So let me tell you how this man tried to ruin my life now. So after dropping off his items, me and my friend go back to my place and we start watching some YouTube videos. We end up falling asleep on my couch. I end up waking up to my phone being blown up. I had at least 50 missed calls from a number I didn't have saved in my phone. So it turns out it's the guy that I just cut off. I literally blocked his number as we were driving away, so that's why he had to call me through his friend's phone, I guess. I call him back and all I hear on the other end of the phone is, how could you do this to me? I didn't know you hated me this much. Like, if you really didn't like me, you could have told me. Like, this is too far. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, keep in mind, it's like 3 in the morning. I had fallen asleep on the couch, so I'm like super groggy. This guy sends me a photo of his car completely totaled, crashed. And he's yelling at me saying, how could you steal my car and crash it? Like, how could you do that to me? Girl, the fuck I look like playing GTA in real life. The fuck? Sir, I've known you for about a month and all you have done is harass me and make me uncomfortable. Like, why am I gonna risk my freedom for you? So he tells me that he's gonna call the police and report me, so I'm like, okay, do it. They will investigate and see that I literally was at home. And that's exactly what he did. He actually did report me to the police. I had to go down to the station and get questioned and everything. I forgot to mention, this guy was a aspiring rapper. So I don't hear from him for maybe like a month or two, and then I get a very special email sent to my inbox. How did this man make a freestyle rap about how much he hates me, how disgusting I am, and how he's gonna break my legs? Baby, that's a threat. The way I could have easily went to the police with that rap song. His ass tried to delete the rap from SoundCloud, but baby, I already saved a copy to my hard drive. Should we listen to it in another TikTok? To add more things to the list of what happens when you tell men no sometimes. Before making this video, I was curious to go and see where he is right now in life. Is he a big rapper now? Nope, still taking photos with rappers backstage of concerts to make it look like they know you. Good luck with booking that stage you speak of.
I was a celebrity and high-profile nanny, and people really like the story times about my time as a celebrity nanny. So I'm going to tell you guys another story. So just a disclosure, this is a high net worth family that I worked for, and I did not sign an NDA for them. So I'm not going to like give away any of their like personal information or anything, but just putting it out there that I'm able to talk about this. I was a nanny for this high net worth family, meaning they're not celebrities, but they are like very wealthy. So they're still like a high caliber of like nanny clientele. I had started with them in the month of May, and then Christmas rolled around and also my birthday in December. And I told them, I was like, don't feel obligated to get me anything, because I saw the mom like stressing to get gifts for like all of these different people in their lives, because when you're millionaires, it's like you have to get gifts for so many people. And I told her, I was like, don't feel obligated to get me anything. Like, I really like my job. Like, that is all I need. And she promised me that she wouldn't go overboard, that they would just get me something very little and that it would be very chill, if anything at all. And I was like, okay, good. Like, don't go crazy. And I'm like thinking to myself, like, what the heck am I even gonna get them for Christmas? Like, I didn't want to get them nothing because I knew they were most likely gonna get me even like just like a little something. But I'm like, what do you get for people who have like everything? I feel so silly about this. But I made them chocolate covered strawberries. Like thinking to myself, like sometimes like homemade gifts, I don't know why I thought this, are really nice because, you know, they're like kind of thoughtful. I made them chocolate covered strawberries. And Christmas rolls around, I like give them the chocolate covered strawberries. I'm gonna be honest, I don't even know if they ate them. They looked really pretty, but like, who knows? And then they proceed to give me not one, not two, but several gifts of varying sizes. And they're like, don't open them here, like open them at home. And I'm like, okay. I get home and open these gifts and I am just like, this is a chill gift to you. They had gotten me a pair of Golden Goose sneakers, a Anthropologie gift card for like a bunch of money, and they also got me a purse from Gucci. I'm not even kidding. I am not a designer bag person. I've never had a designer bag, and I was just like, what is even going on right now? So anyway, that's another one of my nannying stories.
Story time. I went on a date with a very famous actor and it ended up being horrible. So we went out to eat at this really nice place in Miami, one of my faves. Everyone knows him. And I'm like, Lord have mercy, there's gonna be no type of discretion. It was like the entire time people were in our face, looking, turning, watching, and I was like, oh, I don't know how I feel about this. Anyway, we sit down, we have our table, we order food, and I don't even know how the conversation ended up here, but he starts talking about how he hates when girls wear Fashion Nova. Meanwhile, I'm wearing Fashion Nova. And I'm like, yo. So I'm too embarrassed at this point to even say anything. At the time, I work with Fashion Nova, like as an influencer. This is back before Instagram deleted my page, but whatever. I'm feeling really cute in my outfit, but I'm like, damn, sir. So we keep talking. We keep eating. The food was so damn good. I'm trying not to eat everything because I can eat a lot and I definitely am a plate clearer, but my outfit was really tight and like a light color, kind of like a stretchy material, where I was like, yo, if we do anything after this, I'm gonna look pregnant if I keep eating. So I slow down. So we start talking about family and his family dynamics and my family dynamics, and don't know again how this comes up, but I'm talking about my father and how we don't have a relationship, blah blah blah. How about this man starts telling me that I need to find a way for my father and I to be cool again. Sir, do you know this man? Do you know any of the reasons why we are not cool? Do you understand that there could be so many reasons, like he raped me, dropped the G, that we're not cool? Which he didn't, but either way, there can be a multitude of reasons that I'm not with him. And he was just like, oh, you know, a lot of times people's moms don't tell you the whole story of what goes on with your dad, and then before you know it, you have animosity for him and it's not even real. And I'm like, it's crazy to me that men will literally defend other men that they do not know whatsoever off of the strength of what's happened in their current life. So I'm just drinking more. I'm like, Lord have mercy, what is this date? And he is a little older than me, so he has that, like, I know what I'm talking about, like, slightly condescending manner that I can't stand. So I'm hitting him with a shake your head, Jess, shake your head. Because if I say how I really feel, I'm gonna flip this table and dip. So I'm just like, stay pleasant, just get through this evening. And then it gets worse. I don't know how we end up here, but we start talking about Rihanna. This man starts telling me how much he loves Rihanna, how much he wishes he could date Rihanna, how much he would just do anything for her, how he's like a super fan and all this shit. And I'm like, bruh, who doesn't want to date Rihanna? She's a baddie, she's beautiful, she's from the islands. You don't know how to thing go. But can we not do that right now? Bruh. When I tell you this man, it went into strict and very definitive detail about Rihanna's appearance, about how classy she is, about how he felt like he would just suck her toes and just, it was insane. I knew I would never see him again after the date. I was like, yeah, this is dead. Like, we're never doing this shit again. I said to myself, it's so funny that a lot of women will think that dating men with status and dating these famous men is just gonna make life easier, when they don't realize that a lot of the times, not saying always, but a lot of the times when men have clout or they have money or they have some kind of status, they have their own crap going on in the background that you're probably going to find out about, and they just make it really hard to deal with, and they're not willing to see their own crap because in their mind they're perfect and they're a catch and you should be lucky to be here. But yeah, I never saw bro again. Negative 10 out of 10, would not recommend.
Tell me about a time when a celebrity was rude to you.
Okay, so this isn't my story, it's someone that I know. But anyway, in like 2012 or 13, Jared Leto was in Nashville performing with 30 Seconds to Mars, and I guess he went out afterward. And so this friend of mine was on the porch at this bar, and she and her boyfriend were there, and I guess like they were kind of drunk, like they were kissing or whatever, and they overhear him, Jared, on the phone with somebody being like, yeah, I'm sick of this country ass tour, like I hate this town, I'm watching these two fat ass rednecks make out right now. And so she comes over to him and she's like, excuse me, what did you say? And he just kind of goes like, pfft, and like waves her off, like, you know, he's too important to address her. So she grabbed him by the ponytail and started wailing on his face. And he called the cops and she got arrested, but then he didn't show up to the court date, so the charges got dropped.
A guy I used to date is now famous, and it is as weird as you'd imagine. One night I put my daughter to bed, I got some popcorn, sat down on the couch, was going to watch the newest episode of my favorite show. A couple minutes in, I saw a familiar face of someone I used to kiss. Let's call him Mike. And every time this happens, and it's been happening more and more, I look to my husband and I ask, is that Mike? Even though I know that it is. My husband has known of Mike for as long as he's known me. We used to go to my brother's comedy shows and Mike would be performing alongside. My husband has always thought Mike was hilarious, and he is, but It's weird. At any rate, the first time we saw him on our TV, it was just a local commercial, but then a couple of years later we were watching a movie. And he was there just for a moment, but I would recognize his rolling eyes and his crinkled forehead anywhere. And I said, "Is that Mike?" And then I said, "Wow, he's made the big time." I met Mike on spring break of senior year of high school. It was a Grease kind of situation. I was Sandy, he was Danny. We would splash in the waves and kiss on the beach. And of course it wasn't going to last. We did live in the same state, but an hour away from each other. And we were 18. And we were committed to colleges that weren't anywhere close to each other. What are the chances, though, that he starts taking acting classes with my brother, and then I come home on the weekends to see the show, and every once in a while we'd reconnect. But of course the distance never really worked, and then he moved even further away to pursue his acting career. There was a time when Mike and I weren't that different. You know, we used to like to sing and act, and we liked the musical Rent and the band, the Bare Naked Ladies. We both had big dreams for the future. But when I saw him on an awards show, along with a whole bunch of other actors I admired, I went to my composition class the next day and half lamented, half boasted that I used to make out with somebody who had won an award. At the time, I was teaching 19-year-olds how to use a comma correctly, so it was hard not to be jealous of his success and compare my life to his. But I wanted to teach and write, and I wanted to stay in the Midwest, and I wanted to create a family and have stability. And I'm happy to say that I was lucky. I got all that. And sometimes I write things that people read, but for the most part, my life is quiet, and that's how I want it. But then I'm here in this grocery store parking lot buying my daughter a toothbrush, and I can't help thinking about Mike and how he probably pays people to do his shopping for him. But there's no use really comparing myself with him. I mean, I'm happy, and that's an incredible thing to say. It's sometimes easy to forget that when the famous guy I dated always pops up on my television. But hopefully from here on out, whenever I see his face, I'll be reminded that dreams do come true. Both his and mine.
We need to talk about Simply Nessa because she has been recently exposing Hollywood, and I just saw this yesterday. So if you guys have never seen this girl before, basically she used to be a part of a collab channel with Tana Mojo called Trash. Basically, long story short, they were under the same management. And basically, the manager and Tana and a bunch of people started spreading these rumors that Nessa was like this terrible person and talked shit about everyone in the YouTube space and essentially ruined her YouTube career. And she was given the title of Messy Nessie, and it really stopped her from rising to the top, like alongside Tana. So since then, Nessa no longer lives in LA. She's no longer associated with any of those people, and she is coming out on her social media accounts with stories exposing Hollywood. I just want to mention this too. Part of the way that they ruined Nessa's reputation is Jordan, their manager, and Tana started spreading rumors that Nessa was schizophrenic. Which, looking back on this now, trying to make her look schizophrenic and make her look like she has a mental illness when she actually doesn't. And now she's exposing Hollywood. Like, why were you trying to make this girl look crazy?
Let me not even get into the shit that I saw at this party. While looking for the bathroom, I opened up a door I shouldn't have. And I saw some shit that I shouldn't have. And I genuinely wish I could erase it from my memory. And the only way I got out of that situation was pretending that I was high and drunk and acted like I didn't see anything. The things that I was offered in exchange for money and fame. I'm sure some of y'all hear about, the satanic shit that happens out in Hollywood allegedly, and some of y'all probably think, oh, it's probably just like a joke or like a rumor. People that you wouldn't even expect to be involved in that stuff are involved. The amount of times that I would witness literal children in adult spaces, lifestyle that you see a lot of these IG models and Instagram famous people living. You think all these girls are funding these expensive lifestyles with brand deals? With a little Taco Bell sponsor? That ain't their only sponsor. I don't understand why all these movies try to make Hollywood look like this glamorous place. There's over 50,000 homeless people in Los Angeles.
So yeah, sister's got a lot to say. Now, I went down a rabbit hole, as you guys can imagine, looking through all of her stories that she's posted, exposing celebrities and exposing YouTubers, because you guys have to remember that she was a part of that space. So if anyone's gonna know what went down at those Hollywood parties and YouTube parties, it's gonna be someone that was there. And one of the stories that she told was the way that some of our favorite Instagram influencers and YouTube influencers get money is they literally will allow people to pay them, like really rich people to pay them to on them or like in their mouth. There's literally a video of Nessa talking about this, and she's like, it's the E. coli for me, it's the E. coli in the mouth for me, alluding to the fact that there are influencers that let people in their mouth for money. And she also alludes to other weird stuff too, like how she opened that door and there was like weird stuff going on and she wanted nothing to do with it, so she left LA. Like, this really is the age of Aquarius, because when you have people that were in the circle and a part of this lifestyle, and now they no longer have any need to keep these secrets anymore. They're not tied with it anymore. And as long as they don't say who they're talking about, they can just like tell all these stories, and it's mind-blowing. And all across all of Nessa's social media platforms, people are commenting saying like, Nessa, like, you need to be careful, girl. Please be careful when you're telling these stories, because like it's dangerous, especially when she's posting the content in long form. So if you guys want to hear a bunch of crazy Hollywood stories about your favorite YouTubers and stuff, obviously she doesn't say who the people are, but you could put two and two together, especially if you followed YouTube back in the day. It's just crazy. The age of Aquarius is literally happening, and people are exposing the hoes.
A couple days ago, I made a video about how I was on RuPaul's Drag Race, and it was like an amazing experience, and I was super excited about it. And I'm a stand-up comedian, right? And there's an old SNL cast member who will go on Instagram and like go on live and watch the episodes of RuPaul's Drag Race and like do commentary on it. And I was super excited because I'm like, oh crap, like they're gonna watch the episode I'm in and they're gonna like comment on it. Like this is gonna be fun. So I comment on the live. I'm like, hey, just wanna let you know, like I'm a stand-up comedian. I actually perform at the same club that you always perform at, and I'm a huge fan. I'm gonna be in this episode of RuPaul's Drag Race. And they read my comment and they were like, okay, so what do you want, a key to the city? Like, I was like, holy shit, like, I didn't expect that type of response, like, and it wasn't even that funny. Like, it would have been different if they had, like, roasted me, maybe, because they're a comedian. I would have enjoyed that, but it kind of was like, oof, I feel like I can't even be a fan of you anymore. And, like, it sucks because when she would be in, like, other movies and shows, I genuinely would watch it because she was in it. I'd be like, oh, she's going to be in this thing. I'll go watch it. And, like, now I'm like, nah, like, I can't even, like, be a fan of you anymore. And not like they care. Like, I don't think they would care if I was a fan of them or not. It just sucks. Like, I wasn't asking for anything. I was just trying to be like, yo, I'm a stand-up comic too. And, like, you like this show. And I also am on the show. This is going to be so fun for me to watch you, like, comment on it. And she was like, okay, so what do you want, a key to the city? And it sucks because I've heard people say that, like, she's really mean. And I was always like, man, people just say that about celebs. But, like, just seeing her reaction on the live was like, oh, fuck. Like, I will never go up and talk to you ever. You know, like, before that, if I had seen them on the street, I totally would have gone up and been like, yo, like, huge fan, love all the work you do. And, like, just that one little comment of her being like, okay, so what do you want, a key to the city? Like, damn, bro. All right, never mind. Sorry.
I was married years ago to a great guy. We were best friends. I came from the background many of you know I came from, and I was with him because we were best friends and I trusted him, and I loved how much he loved me, and he was funny, and it was great. Now, I tell you this because I text back and forth with him sometimes now, and he talks about my career, etc. And he was amazing. Had I stayed with him, I would have never had the career that I have now. Why? Because I wouldn't have had the motivation. He was sort of my security blanket. And I don't mean financially, because he wasn't my security blanket financially. We were in it together. I mean it because when you're younger and you're in relationships, that becomes your identity. And being married and having kids, and you get on that road and you feel like that's going to be enough. And for me, could be enough for you, not belittling anyone who it's enough for. For me, I needed to be solo and do it on my own. It just, I was engaged another time, and I just kept fighting the urge for me to just like be taken care of and just be married. And I know that the muscle would have gotten weak. I just know I wouldn't have had that hunger, that being broke in that $500 Jeep that I had, like hustling, being desperate, financially desperate. Because this ex, you know, had a family that was well-to-do, and they were very generous with me. And he would have ultimately taken care of me and let me know that he would. And that would have debilitated me because I needed to be desperate and hungry to fight to get to where I got to. It's just a rite of passage. And it's why some people who are given everything, people who have family money, people who marry into it, don't have that fierce hunger, and they later end up feeling like they're missing something, like they don't have, purpose or desire or drive, and they search for it. And I've met many people in my travels that search for it, and it's very hard for them because once you're older and you're set in your ways, you can't go back to that young hunger. So if you are young and hungry and starving, understand that that's like, it makes me think of Madonna. She was desperate, and Lady Gaga, like they had that hunger, that grit. I see it in people. I see it in Nicki Minaj. I see it in Cardi B. It's like we see each other and they see it in me too. So it's just this essence that you need to harness instead of trying to stifle.
Like in Hollywood, if you in the industry, the devil, like Illuminati, all that shit, they try to get you. Big influence you around that shit. They try to get anybody, but you just gotta be smart. And you in Cali, you gonna get sucked in. They invite you to these parties, these house parties. They be like, oh, Whoop the Whoop gonna be there, like your favorite rapper, the big ass person. Get in, you gotta give us your phones and all this shit, and then they might do some gay shit to somebody and then try to and record it and tell them, oh, if you expose us, we gonna post it everywhere. And I know that from word of ear, shit in these house parties. Let me tell you an experience I went through personally. And it was this big influencer party. Can I say a name? It was Bella Thorne party. So I invited from some other friends. It was on Halloween. I already don't celebrate Halloween. That's the devil's day. I happened to be with them and they was going. I was like, fuck it, let's go. The party said you have to be half naked. Second of all, the same night on Hollywood Boulevard, the party was off Hollywood Boulevard, some guy got shot and killed on Hollywood Boulevard, so the whole street was shut down, so that was another sign. We get up there, they ain't bring your phone in. I ain't bringing their phone in, I'm bringing my motherfucking phone in. You gotta sign some papers. What am I signing some shit for to get into a party? Like what? And then this is where it really threw me off. They said they had to prick your blood to get in. No, I'm good. Everyone else went, I called my Uber and left. Like, that's the shit where I think they be trying to get you. People move to LA for a dream. They chasing money, fame, clout, whatever. So they gotta think about it. So
y'all, I'm gonna give my little story time on how I dated a celebrity, this well-known artist. And usually I'm a private person. I don't like to tell my business or really give my business, but I feel like if this can encourage any girl, because I am such a girl's girl, then so be it. I'm going to tell my side and how everything that glitters isn't gold. So I met this guy at a pool party. I was actually there with a guy friend. To make a long story short, I remember walking past him, and I'm not that type of girl to be pulling out my camera, trying to get pictures. I'm very low key. The guy actually suggested we should go there. That was the only reason why I was there. I was like, why not go? Because I was a huge fan anyway. And I remember like years ago, I used to tell everybody, like the people closest to me, like, that's my boyfriend. That's my boyfriend. Because I loved his music so much. And then on top of that, I like my men. Well, previously, I used to like my men a little medium ugly. I remember at that time, I should have ran because when I walked past him, he was just like, I'ma ruin your life. And I was like, and walked off. Like, was I boo-boo the fool or was I goofy? Because right then I should have ran. And I should have known that the party was ratchet. Like, I stuck out like a sore thumb, seriously. But anyway, from that point, we started dating. I'm a very private person, so we'll go on dates, go to dinners, like different places. I was never that type that he'll take me to like the clubs or the strip clubs and stuff like that. We just kind of pretty much like did dinner and stuff like that. Like intimate things that wasn't consist of the rah-rah. I was young, so like some of the choices then that I look back at it now, just like, girl, why? But I understood why. It's the glitz and the glamour. You riding in the Maybach under the stars. You going here, you're getting money, you're getting presents. But all of that is surface level. when I look back, like that stuff is sitting in the closet. It doesn't hold any value whatsoever. These men of this type of caliber, and I'm not saying all of them, but have a sense of like pride and all of these things that they can really love you or care for you, or because when you don't have that for yourself, like inside of you, then you're liable to treat people any kind of way. And so, yeah, you get that side of, being with somebody like that, the material things, but that stuff really don't mean anything. Like, it doesn't. Like, okay, could you show me some love, Dior bag? No. And like, I'm a mother of a 14-year-old girl, and I talk about this. I'm all about building beauty from the inside out, and like helping women like just know that it's more than just your outer appearance. It's also about who you are and your heart. And sometimes these men will try to dictate to you who you are by belittling you, or because I got this, you better da da da. Like, no, like know who you are. And I'm gonna take it right back to who I am in Christ. If I don't know who I am in Jesus, and if he don't know, it's time to run. Like, run right now. And I'm not here to bash anyone because it's all a learning experience. But ladies, I encourage you. I just want the best for us all, especially us Black women. All that's the shade room and these blogs. You don't know these people for real. It looks like you can make a picture appear any kind of way. But y'all don't know these people for real. And you don't know what their heart is like and who they are. But yeah, they can sell this and they can sell that. And they might be a good artist and they might be a good entrepreneur or whatever they are in their craft. And this goes for regular men as well. Until you know who they are in their heart. And I honestly believe you cannot love somebody if you don't know who God is, because God is love. But that's another conversation for another day. I tell y'all to be cool out here. It's wintertime. It's a cold world. So y'all be easy, and Peachy love y'all.
Today I realized the world doesn't like Brittany Mahomes, not because she's annoying.
No, I don't like her because she doesn't tip restaurant staff. I worked at the One Hotel West Hollywood. I was a server, barista, bartender. I did every position, and I believe Brittany was in town to shop for her wedding dress. And my first interaction with her, she ran up over $100 tab. She was with her whole posse. Patrick was not there, but I believe their tab was well over $100, maybe like $130, $0 tip. And that happens sometimes, so I was willing to let the first one slide. And I'm like, maybe she just didn't like me. Maybe it was something I said. But they were there for almost a week, I think, and did not tip a single one of our staff. And not only did she not tip, she was just genuinely unpleasant. And I totally understand celebrities don't owe you anything, especially when you're out in public. As a public figure, you should always go out thinking, okay, the people I interact with are clocking these interactions and they're going to remember this. And I will always remember that, Brittany. I only judge people based off of their character, and I think one of the easiest ways to judge someone's character is how they treat someone in a position lesser than them. And let's just say, character assessed.